Good morning, all. I welcome you all on the behalf of StudyIQ IAS English curriculum. My name is Pritesh Mathurkar. I welcome you all to the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We will be discussing the news of 1st May 2023 today. So, today being the International Labour Day, so it's a rice beds day wherein the rights of the labor needs to be acknowledged. In a way, we all are a labor in the God's framework. Okay, I'm talking something philosophical, but the labor you put into this world, the subsequent fruits you get. Okay, so the quality of labor, the quantity of labor, and your way of putting the labor, your own endeavors will determine what future success you have in your life. Okay, labor is inevitable in life. Anywhere you go, you will have to toil for success. So treat 1st of May as a day wherein you have this determination that yes, we will put intense amount of labor into preparation of civil services examination, and that from today onwards we start on a new journey wherein we will toil for at least 6 to 8 hours a day in our preparation discourse apart from your coaching classes, so that by the time you sit for prelims next year or those of you are appearing this year, the game is now in the unknown territory because prelims is just around the corner now. But for subsequent attempts, you need to have a labor of at least 6 to 8 hours a day on a daily basis, except your coaching, whatever you are doing, or except the learning experience that you are getting from us. And you need to have another additional 3 to 4 hours a day once your uh, learning discourse with the other institute gets over or with us gets over. So here I am with you all to assist you in this labor. We have started this innovative series called as the Hindu Analysis Zone. In this series, those who are watching me for the first time, I will do a detailed discussion of the PDFs on a daily basis, whatever articles we feel that are important from the civil services prelims and mains perspective. So I'll be discussing those articles. Two things you need to keep in mind. Number first, before coming to these sessions every day at 9 a.m., you should always mark up the important articles on your own so that you can match with me whether you are getting on a right track. And second, most important thing, the PDFs which I'll be discussing on the board, they will all be available to you freely and in the same way that I will be discussing. So it's your duty that you are maintaining full file folders of GS 1, 2, 3, 4, and also one separate file folder for essays, for sayings, so that when you sit for mains, you have your own directory of current affairs. So these two things you need to keep in mind. And what you can get assured from my end is a complete and a comprehensive coverage of Hindu from a utilitarian perspective. See, guys, utility is of utmost importance in life. Whatever you do, it needs to have a utilitarian perspective. So, if you're following this channel for current affairs, if you're following me for current affairs, so this current affair should get translated as marks in your mains. So, that is my ultimate aim with you all, that by this sessions, you should all be able to score good marks in mains. Okay. So, any before further ado, let me just quickly again introduce myself. My name is Pritesh Mathurkar. I will be your primarily faculty for analyzing the Hindu newspaper. All the PDFs that I'll be discussing will be available on a Telegram channel name called HAZ. Okay, HAZ, the acronym is on the lines of SEZ, Special Economic Zone. So you have Hindu Analysis Zone. You can join this channel by doing a global search on Telegram, and the joining link of the channel is t.me, the Hindu Analysis Zone. So just join this channel and you will get the detailed PDFs of whatever I'll be discussing there and there itself. Okay. So those of you who are starting for the first time with me today, please bear in mind that these sessions are somewhat intense. Okay. And these sessions are primarily intended for serious candidates. Okay. It's my duty that I will convert the non-serious aspirants into serious ones. But those of you who are watching this, who will be watching this, please keep in mind, guys, that civil services examination is an examination of consistency. Okay. If you don't show consistency to this preparation, the chances of you qualifying are very, very less. So please make sure that you are consistent in your preparation, that you are dedicated, and you are passionate for becoming a civil servant. Okay. Again, I'm reiterating, the joining link is telegram.me, t.me/the Hindu Analysis Zone, and the name of the channel is HAZ. Hindu analysis zone. Okay, so let's begin with the discussion of today's article. So in every class, I gave you a scale as to how important the articles of that day are. So today I will be discussing the articles of Sunday, that is 30th of April, and also of today, 1st of May, yesterday being the holiday. So on a scale of 1 to 10, today's article come in 7 to 8 category level. So they are fairly significant. And one of the article comes in 10 category, the very first article that I will be discussing today. So very, very important article. So such articles you need to summarize on your own too, and you need to have a working understanding as to what is the exact issue. Okay. So every class we do this severity scale. So severity scale of today is between 7 to 8. So please understand the articles very, very properly, and please make sure that the concepts are clear here only. As I have promised, guys, I am not a faculty which will crunch in every information in this universe in a particular article. No, my discussion will be with regards to that day's Hindu only. Okay, so just consider me as a friend, philosopher, and guide in your journey, because I don't want you to bombard with the information. Because if I start bombarding, you will lose track of the current affairs. So whatever is there in the article, only that things we'll be discussing. Okay. So let's move with the discussion of the first article. The Nicobar project violates tribal rights. This is the report of the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. Okay, so what is the Great Nicobar project? So the government is planning to build one of the largest kind of terminal with regards to the export of India, with regards to import of India, with regards to energy security of India and the maritime security of India in the Great Nicobar Island Group. Okay, the name of the project is called as the Great Nicobar Island Project. If I showcase you the exact location of this project, so I'm just opening the maps for you all. So this is the map of the Nicobar Island, and this is the southernmost point of India. This is called as the Indira Point, and the beach besides this is called as Galathea Beach. Okay, Galathea Beach. Okay, it is also a national park. Okay, it has been included in the national park status in the year 1992, and it is one of the most ecologically diverse national parks of India. So government is planning to build a port of call over here. The project is very immense. It is running in thousands of crores. So as you know that the Andaman and Nicobar Island group is a very ecologically sensitive group, and you have some very important PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribal groups living in this area called as Nicobaris and Champagnes. So you have a kind of tussle between the local people and between the government of India. So the local people are voicing their concerns that we have not got rights under the Forest Rights Act, the land is not being allocated to us, whereas the government is saying that this project is very important. Why this project is important and what are the rights issue of the people, that is what this article is about. So first I will be highlighting you why this project is so important. So please remember the beach name, it's Galathea Beach. It is in the Nicobar Island group, the southernmost point of India, Indira Point. Just besides that, this project is being constructed. So if I'm zooming out from the maps perspective, so this is our Andaman and Nicobar Island group, and this is where you have the southeastern edge of the Great Nicobar Island, wherein this project is being constructed. So as you can see, it is very near to Indonesia, it is very near to Myanmar. So it is a very important project from Indian Ocean region development perspective. Okay, so let's understand the stand of the government too first. Okay, so why this project is important. So in this PDF, I have highlighted two or three issues with regards to this project too. All of this information, guys, is freely available to you, so don't need to worry. You just need to first understand why this project is important, what are the core issues involved, and then we will move forward. Okay, so the project includes an international container transship terminal. Okay, transshipment terminal. So this is called as port of call. Okay, port of call. Okay, one of the best port of calls in the world is Singapore. this being near to Singapore, so this port will become very important. So port of call is where you can have berthing facilities if big container ship comes. So it can dock, it can berth, you can remove the goods, you can add the goods. You also have refueling capacities and you also have lodging capacities. So very important, container transshipment world, a greenfield international airport. Okay, you all understand this because of the security perspective. Okay, township development and around a 450 MVA gas and solar based power plant over an extent of 16,610 hectares on the island. So basically a holistic development project on the island, but it is going to come at an ecological cost. Now please understand this. This is the geostrategic significance of this port, of this development project. It is equidistant from Colombo to the southwest and Port Klang, Malaysia and Singapore to the southeast. So southwest and southeast, it is equidistant from Colombo and Port Klang and Singapore, and positioned close to the east-west international shipping corridor. Okay, so there are some international sea lines of communication which are very important for global trade perspective. So it is positioned very close to the east-west international shipping corridor through which a very large part of the world shipping trade passes. So this is the geostrategic importance of this project, that it is equidistant from Colombo to southwest and Port Klang in Malaysia and Singapore to the southeast, and it is positioned close to the east-west international shipping corridor. Hence, this project is very important from government's perspective. Now, why this project has struck a chord with the tribals, why this project has struck a chord with the ecologists, with the environmentalists, this is what this article is about. Okay. So let's understand this now. Okay, the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, NCST, it's mind you, it's a constitutional body, has flagged alleged discrepancies with respect to forest clearance granted for the 72,000 crore Great Nicobar Island project. Okay, citing the alleged violations under the Forest Rights Act (FRA), the panel issued a notice in April to distinct authorities on the Andaman Nicobar Islands on the ground that the project will significantly affect the rights of local tribal people and that the National Commission on Scheduled Tribe was not consulted. This month only, the National Green Tribunal, which sits in Delhi, has ordered a stay on the project and constituted a committee to revisit the environmental clearance. So I won't be going into details of this, guys, but you just need to understand that before any project is done, you need to have environmental impact assessment. It is called as EIA. Okay, so there are numerous discrepancies in the EIA of this project because there is a firm based in Hyderabad who has done the environmental impact assessment, and that report is very shrouded. It's not in a good territory, and that report has come in a record time span of less than 1.5 years. Okay, so EIA, environmental impact assessment of this project, is in question. Number two, okay, the rights or the indigenous tribal rights of the forest dwelling communities of this area are in question. So when Britishers came, when colonizers came, okay, they basically did what? They basically dragged out the tribal people from the forest areas. They curtailed their rights. So there was a long history of this. Even after independence, their rights were not acknowledged. So there was an act called as Forest Rights Act of 2006, wherein the rights of the individual dwelling communities were recognized. So just imagine that you have a project in this particular area, a government is developing the project. So first you need to understand how much of the land of the tribal people is going for this project, and they need to be compensated for that land, and they need to have exclusive rights on the land. So this is basically with regards to the Forest Rights Act. So the National Commission on Scheduled Tribes has basically given a verdict, has basically given a judgment on this only. There are two tribal groups in this area. You have the Nicobaris tribe and you have the Shompen tribe. Both of the names will be included in this article. Let's move ahead. Okay. The island administration neither recognized the granted ownership of forest land to the tribal people under FRA, a requisite step under the Forest Conservation Rules 2017 before staging clearance is granted, before the stage 1 clearance is granted. So you need to remember now what? You need to remember the forest Conservation Rules of 2017. So in this para, it is mentioned, according to Rule 63E of the Forest Conservation Rules 2017, any diversification of forest land would first require the district collector to recognize and vest the rights to the local people under FRA. Okay, so if you become the district collector of this part in the future, or if any part ecologically sensitive part wherein the tribals are residing, so you as a district collector, you as the sole primary officer in contact, okay, because you become IS officer, but naturally you will become the collector. So it's your uh, duty to recognize what? To recognize and vest rights to the local people under the FRA. Only then do the rules permit authorities to seek a consent of the now rights holding Gram Panchayats for diversification of this land, a provision envisioned to give primacy to the rights of indigenous forest dwelling communities. So let's say that you are the collector now, okay, and I am the tribal or I am the forest dwelling community which is residing in this land. So I'm a very old fashioned guy. I will be primarily relying on the resources of the forest for my daily life. So you being the collector, you will come to me for what? Sir, this project is now being implemented in this area. So I have to vest the rights of the land to you. So please sign this document. But the collector should or the administration over here has not done this properly. Okay. Why? Because of two things. Why? Because there is no local representation and the process in which this has been done is not proper. Okay. So please remember, this is under the Forest Convention rules of 2017 that require district collector to recognize and vest rights to the local people under FRA. Only then do the rules permit authorities to seek consent of the now rights holding Gram Panchayats for the diversion of this project. Okay. So this has not yet been done. Okay. Okay. Recognized that the rights have not been granted and the forest conservation rules of 2017 have not yet been adhered to. Okay. This line is again important. The project being implemented by the Andaman and Nicobar Islands Integrated Development Corporation includes a transshipment port, airport, power plant, and the Greenfield Township, which I've already discussed. And this project is why so important, why everything is in question. Okay, the project intends to use how much? 7.114 square kilometers of the tribal reserve forest land, where the Shompen, a PVTG, and the Nicobaris reside. So, which are the two PVTGs that reside? Okay, you have the Shompen and you have the Nicobaris. Please remember these guys. You need to remember these two tribal groups. It insisted that local people will not be displaced for the project. But you all know that there is no such thing. You will have project affected families. They are called as PAF. Okay, don't need to go into details, but just understand the word project affected families. So why this is in news? Because around 7.114 square kilometer of the tribal reserve forest land. And what is the name of the forest? It is called as Galathea National Park. It has been included in the national park category in the year 1992. So these tribes have not yet been consulted properly. Okay. So let's move ahead now. Okay. However, the monthly progress reports filed with the ministry show that the district administration did not receive or process a single claim over the forest land under the FRA in the 26-month period between October 20, when it was first applied for clearance, and November 2022. So the local administration has not yet been contacted for this purpose. So this is a grave area. This is a very serious matter in terms of governance, in terms of recognizing the rights of the individual dwelling communities. So you can use this article as a case study. You can quote this article as an ethical example too. And you can also use this article for understanding the difference between developmental compulsions and the rights of the indigenous dwelling communities. See, guys, development is necessary, but if that development is coming at an ecological cost, if that development is coming at a cost where the rights of the people are being neglected or negated completely, then that development is not proper. Because why? The developmental model which we perceive in India is bottom to top. It's not top to bottom. The development needs to be inclusive development, guys. Okay. So let's move ahead. So just now remember this. Okay. Certificate from the Champagne Tribal Prize to the proceedings and past files to the district level community. This has not been done. So the Champagne tribesmen have not been consulted for this purpose. So the tribal group have not yet been consulted properly. There is no kind of administration which is monitoring their voice, and if you can just remember this, meanwhile, the rights bodies and experts argued that whether the Andaman Adim Janta Vikas Samiti AAJBS could ever truly represent the Champagne, given that it is a society up and run by the administration. So you can just remember the name of the committee which is representing the Champagne, but in a true sense, it is not representing. Why? Because it is run by a society set up and run by the administration only. So if the administrative officers are itself running the representation, they don't truly represent the committee. So just remember the committee. It is called as Andaman Adim Janjati Vikas Samiti. Andaman Adim Janjati Vikas Samiti. That is the representation group of the Champagne tribes, but it is itself run by the administration officers. So no proper administration for this. So if I'm summarizing the entire thing for you, government is implementing a major mega project upwards of 70,000 crore rupees in the Great Nicobar Island Group on the southeastern edge. Okay, the name of the national park which is coming in perspective, it is the Galathea National Park, which has got the national park status in 1992. You have two tribal groups, Champagne and Nicobaris, which are in picture. National Green Tribunal has already put a stay on this group considering the ecological cost, because you will have what? You will have destruction of the local mangroves, you will have destruction of the local rainforest trees, you will have heavy loss of biodiversity with regards to the organisms over there. So NGT has already put a stay on this project. Now recently the National Commission on Scheduled Tribes has also did this. Why? Because they are saying that the rights of the indigenous dwelling communities have not yet been recognized under the FRA Act of 2006, and it is under the Forest Convention rules of 2017 that the district administration has the duty to first give the rights of the land to the individual Gram Sabhas, and then only the government can consult them, but this has not yet been done properly. The two tribal groups, you have Champagne and you have Nicobaris, and please remember the local administration body which is representing the tribe, that is called as Andaman Adim Janjati Vikas Samiti. And this body is run by the administration officers itself, so not proper representation, so pseudo representation. So this article now becomes very important, and this article can surely be asked in mains and in prelims too. Why? Because of the geostrategic importance of this project. It is running very close to the east-west international shipping corridor. It is equidistant from Colombo and Klang in the southwest, and to the Singapore in the southeast. So this project becomes very, very important. Okay. So let's move to the discussion of the other article today. So this is again a very grave article, very serious news. Okay. You have deadly H5N1 outbreak which happened last year and it continues unabated globally. Okay. So if you see the news over here, you just need to understand the kind of the infographic itself. So unlike previous outbreaks of highly pathogenic subtypes of avian influenza, H5N1 is heavily impacting wild bird species. See, UPSC is known for asking such kind of articles, such kind of news in one liner. So you need to understand what is the subspecies of the avian influenza virus. It is H5N1. So this is a particular virus, okay, H5N1 subtype of the virus, genome of the virus, which is heavily impacting the bird wild species. Okay, and in addition to poultry, pelicans, geese, waterfowl, falcons, and store birds have been impacted significantly. So if you read this article, Uncontrolled spread of virus can be catastrophic to the endangered bird species globally, leading to mass extinction of sparrow species. So there are some examples in this. Okay. In recent weeks, reports suggested that at least 20 California condors, a species that was on the verge of extinction since 1980s, have been succumbed to H5N1 influenza virus have been succumbed to H5N1 influenza virus, with around 300 condors estimated to remaining in the wild. This is roughly accounting a significant 7% of their species. So if a question comes in prelims that recently there was an outbreak of which of virus in the Californian condors, it is the H5N1, and there are only 300 of them remaining, and already 20 of them have died. So 7% of the species has already died. So you have less than 90% of the species existing. Okay. Spread to animals. Okay. The highly contagious H5N1 virus can also occasionally spill over from birds to animals through direct or indirect contact with the infected birds or their droppings. In 2023 alone, H5N1 caused the death of over 2,000 sea lions in Peru. In a recent, yet to be peer-reviewed, scientists found that the virus could effectively spread between forests in laboratory. The only known cases of virus spreading between mammals were reported in minks that were raised in close confinement in a farm in Spain. And does this virus spread to humans? H5N1 has a high mortality rate of over 60% in humans. So the 60% of humans, those who will come in contact with this virus, they are bound to die, and is primarily transmitted through close contact with infected birds or animals. So please remember, H5N1 virus will now become a part of zoonotic viruses. Please remember this, guys. It becomes a part of zoonotic diseases. Zoonotic diseases means what? When a pathogen spreads from human to non-human contact. Okay. So you are getting this virus from the wild. So a non-human is transmitting the virus to the humankind. So it will now become a part of the zoonotic diseases. Okay. Through handling of the infected poultry or exposure to contaminated environment. This is very, very alarming. Okay. In the recent months, few sporadic cases of human infections have also been reported from, please remember, Ecuador, Cambodia, and more recently in Chile. However, since the virus does not yet transmit effectively among the humans, the World Health Organization has assessed the risk of H5N1s of to the human to be low. So human to human spread of this virus is not so high. It is not as contagious as the coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2 novel COVID virus of 2019. It's not that contagious. It is low. So not to panic now, but we need to put the measures in place. Why? Because this virus has already killed how much? It has already killed around 100 million birds globally, and killing over 50 million birds and millions of poultry have been killed. Okay. So globally, there is a catastrophe with regards to this virus. So you need to have this in picture. Three things you need to remember. The name of the virus is H5N1 from the exam's perspective. Second thing you need to remember is that it is a zoonotic virus. It spreads between the wild birds, and wild birds are bound to transmit this virus to mammals, and mammals are bound to transmit this virus to humans. So it becomes a part of zoonotic diseases. Number three thing that you need to remember, that the mortality rate over here in humans is around 60%, okay, more than 50%. So it's an alarming case, but human to human spread of this virus is not yet that well documented, and it is low according to WHO. So we don't need to panic per se, but we need to put the requisite measures in action. So this is again a very important article with regards to the spread of the H5N1 outbreak, and UPSC normally focuses this in prelims. A simple one-liner. So you can have H1N1, H2N2, anything, but the correct answer will be H5N1. Recently, this virus was in news, which is the virus. So if you mark the answer properly, you will get 2 marks. If you don't mark, you will lose 2 marks. And if you mark up wrong, you will enter into the negative territory. Don't do this, guys, at all. Okay. So let's move to the discussion of the next article. So this is a very welcome and a very positive news article, a very small article in today's Delhi state page of Hindu. but you need to use such kind of articles in your answers for complementing or for giving a positive side of the recent infrastructure push that is happening in the National Capital Region. All of you know NCR of India, National Capital Region of India, ranks in global top 10 most polluted regions of the world. But this is a very welcome news. The Commission for Air Quality Management on Sunday said that the city recorded cleanest air quality between January and April this year compared with the corresponding period in the last 7 years. So this year you had the one of the best air qualities as compared to the last 7 years. Why this is so, I will also explain. Citing the data from the Central Pollution Control Board, CQM said that the first 4 months of the year saw 52 days of good to moderate air quality. So now what is this index? Okay, so I'm just showcasing you the index that you have. Okay, this index has been launched in 2014 with the outline one number, one color, one description for the common man to judge the air quality within this vicinity. So, Central Pollution Control Board Air Quality Index has been launched along with the professors of IIT Kanpur. Okay, so the CPBC has worked along with IIT Kanpur to launch this Air Quality Standard Index of India. So, the premise being one number, one color, so that everyone can understand. The measurement of air quality is based on eight pollutants. You need to remember this, namely PM10. Okay, PM10 or particulate matter means what? If I'm considering PM10, so any particulate matter which is less than 10 microns, it will be called as PM10. PM 2.5, it will be any particulate matter which is less than 2.5 microns. It will be called as PM 2.5. So PM10, PM 2.5, NO2, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia, and lead. So you just need to remember this, that what does this index include? It includes eight pollutants, namely particulate matter PM10, PM 2.5, it will include nitrogen oxide, dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia, and lead. So these are the eight pollutants which will be including in this index, and one color, one description, one number, one color. So 0 to 50, it is good. 51 to 100, it's satisfactory. 101 to 200, it's moderate. 201 to 300, it's poor. 301 to 400, it's very poor. 401 to 500, it's severe. Okay. For majority of the year, NCR's air quality is between very poor and severe. Okay. And this has now been improved. Why this now has been improved? That is a good thing. So just remember three things why this has been improved. Number first, why this AQ has been improved is because of construction of Eastern and Western Peripheral Expressway. Peripheral Expressway. Okay. Earlier, Delhi didn't have good bypasses. So you have two expressways which have been developed around Delhi, Eastern and Western Peripheral Expressway. So now the heavy traffic is not coming into the Delhi area. It is now diverting from the area. So this is the first thing that has been done. Second, okay, as soon as the air quality translates into poor and very poor, you have a ban on construction. You have a ban on construction. Okay, you have a ban on construction. Okay, strategic pollution control norms, and this has been put place by NJT, even by Supreme Court and the government of Delhi. And number three, okay, various factors like odd and even policy. You must have heard with regards to this odd even policy, that on some days only odd number vehicles will be allowed, on some days only even vehicle numbers will be allowed. And also policies like sprinkling of water, sprinkling of water on the roads, sprinkling of water on the roads, and covering the construction, covering the construction with nets, so that the dust of the construction does not run helter shelter. So these are some of the initiatives which has resulted into good air quality index in the NCR region. So please use this article with regards to the case studies discussion, with regards to the discussions in ethical governance too, because this is what is needed. The National Capital Region of India shouldn't be one of the top 10 polluted areas in the world. We need to work upon this. So please take note of this area. Okay. Now let's move ahead. Discussion of the next article that is important. So again, an article on FRA. Guys, recently Forest Rights Act is very much in news. So it becomes your humble duty that you are summarizing this very, very properly. Okay, and that you are getting this issue very, very properly. So after today's session, it's my humble request with every one of you that please go and summarize FRA in approximately 1,000 words so that you have a working understanding of what is the act and what are the recent issues. So you can use this um, case study in ethics directly, because in ethics you do require some good governance initiatives. So you can quote the name of the person involved over here directly, because that is what is needed in ethics answers. Okay. So the question is, sorry, the headline is Lives of 6,000 Villagers to Change for Better in Odisha. Okay. So you can use this as a case study in ethics governance, and you can also quote this in a significance of FRA. Guys, the way I'm discussing the PDFs, everything marked is available to you all freely daily after this session on the Telegram channel. So now just focus on the board. You can get the PDFs. Please understand the issue. After these sessions are over, just summarizing 15 to 20 minutes. That's it. Okay. So over 6,000 villagers who lived devoid of essential government welfare schemes and developmental benefits for decades deep inside the forest in Odisha's Ganjam district. Please remember the name of the district. It is Ganjam district. Okay. You can directly use as example in your GS4, in GS2, good governance. Okay. Are set to embrace a new life with the recognition of their village as a revenue village under the Forest Rights Act. Okay. So what does the Forest Rights Act do? Let's move to the end part of this article. Okay. This is important. So the FRA provides a legal framework. The FRA provides a legal framework for converting all forest, unsurveyed villages, or habitation of forest land into revenue villages. What does the FRA framework do? FRA framework does this thing. The FRA 2006, Forest Rights Act of 2006, provides a legal framework for converting all forest, unsurveyed villages, or habitation on forest land. So if you are having some indigenous dwelling species over there, indigenous dwelling tribal groups over there, so you can include them in FRA into revenue villages. Revenue villages means what? So as soon as a revenue villages come, so what you can have, you can transfer funds for taking up Manrega scheme. Okay, you can do crop planning, you can do diversification. Similarly, caste, residential, and income certificates can be issued to the villagers easily against the individual landholding titles. So any governmental recognition, okay, caste certificate, income certificate, even your identity certificates, you can now get issued once the village comes into the revenue village perspective under FRA. So if it was not done, so see what was happening in the villages perspective. Okay, most of these villages do not have basic facilities such as water supply projects, schools, Anganwadi centers, and more importantly, all weather road. Why? Because these villages were not in the revenue model of the government itself, they were highly unsurveyed. So just imagine the arduous life of the people in these villages. Okay, without valid drawn records, revenue officials show zero reluctance in accepting them as normal citizens and issuing necessary certificates which are required for pursuing education and availing government welfare benefits. So if you are a person residing in this village in the Ganjam district, and if you want to claim any insurance, if you want to claim crop insurance, if you want to claim health insurance under Ayushman Bharat, you were not entitled to. Why? Because your village itself was unsurveyed. And all of this is because of one person. Okay, and you can quote this name of one person in your ethics directly. Okay, some personalities in India do function for the welfare of the people. The democratic fabric of India or the country of India is maintained by such personalities only. Like, you do have corrupt officers in India, but a big country like India is functioning because of some of the most sincere officers that are working in the government. And you can quote this example directly. And it's a thing of pride, guys, that when you become a officer and you work for the welfare of the people, people revert you back in terms of happiness. They revert you back in terms of respect, and that is the best thing that you can do in your life. If you are making a dent in someone other's life, and if they are reverting you back, treat your life as successful. Then, until then, you have not yet done in life if you are not able to impact others people's life. Okay, so district welfare office Parikshit thus played a key role in declaring or in clearing the government hurdles. So you can quote the name of this person directly, Parikshit Das, District Welfare Officer, who played a key role in clearing all the government hurdles. And because of this, the villages were now recognized under the FRA, and it now became a revenue village. The name of the village is Ganjam District. Okay, Ganjam District in Odisha. Okay, so please use this news as a case study. Please use this news as good governance, ethical governance, and please quote the name of Dikshit sir properly in your case studies, because that is what will fetch you good marks in GS paper 4. Guys, everything is about marks in preparation. You should be hungry. The content which you are seeing, the way you are seeing this content, only one thing should be there in your mind: scoring marks. If you are watching these lectures only for, let's say, okay, we will just see what this faculty is discussing, and you're following 10 different things, that is not done. Those who are watching these lectures, please keep in mind that you should be hungry for marks in mains, and that is where you can utilize such kind of articles. Okay, so let's move ahead to further discussion of today's article. Okay, again, a very, very important article, guys. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, this will rank in around 8 to 9 category. Okay, you all know that in India presently you do have stray dogs menace, and that has resulted into numerous deaths in India recently. So, what is the connection of stray dogs with waste management? So, this article is very, very important for environmental management perspective. And guys, such articles do not come often in the paper. Okay, uh, they are very special articles, and it takes months for such articles to reflect in the paper. So I'm reading the heading for you all first. Is there a connection between increasing urban stray dog population and how the waste is generated, collected, and managed? Has there been a rise in global solid waste? What role can equitable housing and sanitation policies play? How is India managing the stray dog problem? How is India managing the stray dog problem? So let's move with the head of the discussion of this article. What do dog bites have to do with poor waste management? So this article is doing interlinkage for you all. So those articles which will interlink to different aspects, such articles become very important for the civil services perspective. Okay. So the carrying capacity, the ability of a city to support a species is determined by the availability of food and shelter. But naturally, free-ranging dogs in the absence of these facilities are scavengers that force around for food, eventually gravitating towards exposed garbage dumping sites. Dogs thus congregate around the urban dumps such as landfills due to feeding opportunities. Okay, so if you are generating a heavy amount of waste, that waste is bound to end in the landfills or around garbage bins. And you must have seen in your society that, or near your garbage dumping yards, that you have heavy presence of stray dogs over there because they forage for food. So you are basically doing what? You are overburdening the city's capacity for waste management, and because of this, the dogs are now converging around these centers. Okay, a population boom in India has contributed to a staggering rise in solid waste. Indian cities generate more than 150,000 metric tons of urban solid waste every day. Please remember this statistic. Okay, you can quote this statistics in your answer. Okay, so what do urban cities Do they generate a waste of more than 150,000 metric tons every day? Okay. And Indian homes on an average generated 50 kg of food waste per person. The reports, okay. So don't need to understand the report, but just you can quote this. So on an average, Indian home is generating 50 kg of food waste per person. Okay. This waste often serves as a source of food for hunger-stricken free roaming dogs that move towards densely populated areas in the cities, such as urban slums, which are usually located next to garbage dumping sites and landfills. So, if you see the slum areas of any city, they are directly in front of the garbage dumping bins or in front of the landfills. And as the waste is generated in these slums or it is dumped in the landfills, so you have increased man to animal conflict in these areas. So it is always that the poor will suffer more. Okay, let's move ahead. Cities have witnessed a sharp rise in stray dog population, which as per the official 2019 livestock census stood at 1.5 cr. Okay, however, independent estimates peg that the number to be around 6.2 crore. So there are around 6.2 free roaming street dogs in India. The number of dog bites has simultaneously doubled between 2021 and 2020. 2012 and 2020, India also shoulders the highest rabies burden in the world. Why? Because you have such a heavy amount of street dogs roaming. So, but naturally, you are going to have rabies, counting for a third of global deaths caused due to the diseases. So, this is a very severe problem, guys. Okay, tepid animal birth control programs and insufficient rescue centers in conjunction with poor waste management result in a proliferation of street animals in India. This is the crux of the article. So if any question comes in mains, if you get a question in interview, sir, madam, how can you manage the street dog problem in India? What are the challenges and what needs to be done? And what are the interlinkage? Your one line answer should be this. What? Tepid animal birth control programs. I will teach you what is this. The program, it is called as ABC program, Animal Birth Control Program. It is there in the article itself, so don't need to worry. Tepid animal birth control programs and insufficient rescue centers in conjunction with poor waste management result in proliferation of street animals in India. Okay. Additionally, most landfills and dumping sites are located on the peripheries of cities next to slums and settlement colonies. So, majority of the dumping sites and landfills are located on the peripheries of cities next to slums and settlement colonies. So, if you go to the Azadpur landfill of Delhi, one of the biggest landfills in Asia per se. So, if you go over there, you have one of the biggest APMCs of India too. Okay. Thus, the disproportionate burden of dog bites may also fall in people in urban slums. So, but naturally, the poor is going to suffer the most. And you must have seen in the news that right now the poor people are more exposed to dog bites and rabies as compared to the urban rich. Why? Because they are located close to these dumping sites and landfills. I'm again reiterating, additionally, most landfills and dumping sites are located on the peripheries of cities next to the slums and settlement colonies. Thus, the disproportionate burden of dog bites may also fall in the people in the urban slums. Okay. Now, the last part of this article, how has India managed the problem? Okay, challenges in the ABC program. Okay, India's response to stray dog menace has riddled upon the animal birth control program. It is called as ABC. It's not KBC, guys. Okay, it's ABC. Okay, through which municipal bodies trap, sterilize, and release the dogs to slow down the dog population. So there is a thing called as you trap the dog, you sterilize the dog, and you release the dog. So you have three things that are happening. You do what? You trap, okay, trap, you catch the dog, okay, then you sterilize or neuter, okay, you neuter the dogs, okay, and then you vaccinate the dog, and then you release the dog. Okay, so catch, neuter, vaccinate, and release. These are the three components of the ABC program. So you are catching the dog, you are neutering the dog, and then you are vaccinating the dog, and then you are releasing it. So this is the animal birth control program. Okay. The second anchor was rabies control measures, including a vaccination drives. But implementation suffers from low awareness around the health implications of dog bites, irregularities of supply of vaccines, delay in seeking the treatments, and a lack of national policy, experts say. So, what are the challenges basically? Where is the problem? But the problem lies in implementation. Implementation suffers from where? From low awareness around the health implications of dog bites. So, if a dog is biting you, and if you don't take the proper medicine, but naturally you are bound to get sickened, but naturally you are bound to get rabies. So there is low awareness with regards to this, irregular supply of vaccines, and lastly, delay in seeking treatments and a lack of national policy. So this is the challenges which India is facing with regards to the dog menace, with regards to the um handling of the ABC program. So please quote directly in your answers. Please use this information directly. Remember the name of the program, ABC. So I'm quickly summarizing this article for you. Street dog menace with the environmental perspective. Okay. So in your colonies or around your areas, you must be seeing the street dogs holding the dumping sites where the garbage is dumped. Why? Because for food scavenging. In India, roughly you are having a street dog population of around 6.2 CRs. India, on an average, is generating, Indian cities are generating 1,50,000 metric tons of waste a year. On an average, Indian household is generating 50 kg of food waste per person. So this is not at all good, guys. You need to do something with regards to the waste management. Okay. And because of this, stray dogs flaunt these areas. And where are these areas located? These areas are located on the peripheries of city or near the slums. Hence, you have increased incidences of dog menace and dog bites. Okay. And hence, the poor also fall prey to this kind of things. The program in India, which is called as ABC program, Animal Birth Control Program, you have catch, you have neuter or sterilize, you have vaccinate, and you release. But this program is pegged by irregularities. You don't have awareness in the people with regards to getting vaccination when the dog is biting. You neither have awareness in terms of getting the dogs neutralized, in terms of getting the supply of vaccines, and you don't have a national implementation policy for this. Everything is left with regards to the local administration. Hence, you have such a severe menace of dog bites in India. So, such article, guys, are very, very important from the utilitarian perspective in mains. Do not skip such articles at any cost. Okay. Just bear with me for 10 to 15 minutes. I know this session is getting long, but the articles are very important. So let's move ahead without any further ado. Again, the article which I'm discussing now is very important from the ecological perspective and also from the rights perspective. So the protest against the refinery in Maharashtra. Okay, what is the Ratnagiri refinery and petrochemicals project? Is it going to harm the coastal Konkan region? So in this, you just need to understand the ecological cost of this project. Okay, ecological cost. So in this article, only you have to summarize what are the ecological implications of this particular project and what is this project basically. Okay. On April 25, Maharashtra government started conducting soil testing at Rajpur Tehsil's Barsu village in the coastal Ratnagiri district to know if the site was suitable for the proposed multi-billion-dollar Ratnagiri Refinery and Petrochemicals Limited project, which is touted as the world's largest single location refinery complex. So the world's largest single refinery complex, okay, wherein you can have refining of petrochemicals, of refining of the crude oil. So world's largest is going to be constructed in Ratnagiri's Barsu village. Okay. The project, which is expected to have a capacity of around 60 million tons per annum, is a joint venture between Saudi Aramco. Saudi Aramco, the full form it is called as Saudi American and Arabian Oil Company, Arabican American Oil Company, Saudi Aramco, Abu Dhabi National Oil Company and Indian Oil Corporation Limited, BPCL and HPCL. So all the three big conglomerates of India, Indian Oil, HPCL, BPCL, along with Saudi Aramco and Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, all of these are coming together for building up the world's biggest joint refinery project. Okay. So what are the locals saying basically? Okay, so this paragraph is very, very important. So please do this paragraph very properly. Okay, what are the village? How have the villages reacted? Okay, hundreds of residents from the neighboring villages are protesting the government decisions as they are concerned about the potential impact on the environment and livelihoods of the local communities. The project site is a region that is ecologically sensitive with several species of flora and fauna endemic to that area. You all know that this area will come under Western Ghats, and Western Ghats is a very ecologically sensitive zone. You have numerous endemic species over here. Around 70% of the species that you find in Western Ghats are endemic to this area. You don't find this species anywhere in the world. Okay. The Konkan region has large mango orchards as well as jackfruit and cashew plantations. So you all know Konkan region is famous for Alfonso mangoes, the king of mangoes, and you have a very famous Alfonso mango called as Devgad Alfonso mango, which is also having a GI tag. Okay, large mango orchards, jackfruit and cashew nuts plantation. The villagers express concern about the potential health hazards posed by the refinery and petrochemical unit, which is expected to emit a large amount of pollutants. So how are you going to discharge the effluents which will come out of these plants? So three things up till now. Number one, how are you going to take care of the ecological wipeout of the flora and fauna? Number two, how are you going to have its implication on mango plantation, on mango orchards, on cashew nuts, and on jackfruit? And number three, what about the local effluent discharge of the pollutants from this project? Okay. Accordingly, locals, Konkan already suffers from air pollution due to presence of coal-powered thermal plants. Many farmers express concern that they will lose their source of livelihood if their land is acquired for the project. So you also have issues with regards to land acquisition. Okay. Locals say that the project should be shifted to more arid zones in the state like Marathwada and Vidarbha. Why government is constructing this port in Ratnagiri? Because of access to the sea. So now if you are shifting this project from the coastal areas to hinterland, so but naturally you will have to lay down pipelines, so infrastructure cost will be more. Hence government is not considering this actively, but the locals are saying that because of these particular regions you need to shift this refinery. So guys, again, this article can be asked from a developmental compulsion versus ecological imperatives to you all. Okay. Should the development come at the cost of environmental degradation? This is very important. So please quote this article from this perspective. Okay. So let's move ahead. Okay. Second last article of today. This is a headline article, guys. So India plans to give petrol vessels and landing aircrafts to Maldives. Okay, this is Maldives. You all know a very important ally of India. Maldives is one of the key maritime neighbors in the Indian Ocean region, and overall bilateral ties, including the areas of defense and security, have been on an upward trajectory in the last few years. Okay, Maldives is important for India to contain China in the Indian Ocean region. Okay, so maritime security of the Indian Ocean region. Okay, maritime security of the Indian Ocean region. So remember this, that India is now going to give Myanmar petrol vessels and landing aircrafts. Okay. India's decision to provide military platforms to Maldives come amid China's persistent efforts to expand its overall influence in the region. And how has been the India's foray? So India's foray is coming under this. India's vision of Sagar, security and growth for all in the region, along with its neighborhood first policy as well as Maldives India first policy, seeks to work together to jointly develop the capabilities with the Indian Ocean region. So if a direct question comes in mains, okay, how has been the bilateral relations between India and the Maldives, or what India is doing to curtail the presence of China in the Indian Ocean region. So, the foray of India in regards to Sagar, security and growth of all in the region, along with its neighborhood first policy and Maldives India first policy. So, jointly with Maldives, we are going to work to ensure maritime security in the Indian Ocean region. Okay, so this is what you need to do in mains. You need to quote such kind of issues, and you can remember the Saga initiative from prelims perspective. So utilitarian value of articles you need to extract. So this is just a headline based article, but you can utilize this everywhere. Okay. So the last article of today that I will be discussing with you all. Okay. This article pertains to you, especially the Gen Z of India. Okay, wherein even if you have a slight headache, you just go online and you just order crocin, you just order paracetamol, and that paracetamol comes within 10 minutes. You take crocin, you take paracetamol, and you sleep. So this is with regards to only paracetamol, but some youths of India are now abusing the sedatives. They are now abusing the drugs like cough syrups. They are just placing the order. They are getting it from the big conglomerates, from the big e-pharma companies, and they are abusing the drugs. So drug abuse, substance abuse is now increasing because there is no regulation on e-pharma as such. So this is a very important news now with regards to your safety, our family's safety. Safety concerns over e-pharma put center in a spot. Okay. The Union Health Ministry sources say that they are in mood to give the e-pharma companies a free run, calling the move far too long dangerous. Okay, so the DGCI Director General, the DGCI has sent show cause notices to 20 odd pharmacies for selling drugs that are not for retail sale. Okay, consumer safety is our primary focus. Unlimited accessibility to medicines through e-pharmacy, sale of substandard and habit-forming medicines like sedatives, mood-altering drugs, profiling of patients and buyers, and illegal data collection are the main concerns. So, what are the issues plaguing the e-pharma sector? Number first issue. Okay. Unlimited accessibility to medicines through e-pharma. Number two, sale of substandard. Number three, habit forming medicines like sedatives, mood altering drugs. Number four, profiling of patients and buyers. So if you just download an app, a e-pharmacy app like NetMed, like Tata 1mg, anything. So you have to fill your profile. Are you suffering from anything? What's your age and that? So that is not at all good. Okay. And illegal data collection are the main concerns. So you have doctors affiliated with this platform who, instead of verifying, doing your background search, they just rely on whatever information you provide to them, and they give you prescription. That prescription is digitally signed, and within an hour you have medicines delivered to your home. So this is not at all good, guys. So these are the issues plaguing the health sector. Okay. According to a report, e-pharmacy market in India, compared to its physical counterparts, has emerged in recent years and as a superior and has more practical strategy for addressing consumer problems and delivering excellent customer solutions. It does not mean that e-pharmacy market is not a good market. Okay, you can, if you put proper vigilance over this market, if you have a national policy over this market, so you can utilize this potential to deliver medicines to the most hinterland regions of India. Everything is about management, guys. You need to have a proper policy orientation, and you, as the future officers of India, it will be your duty to do this. Okay. While there are talks about a complete ban on e-pharmacy earlier this year, the Drug Controller General of India (DCCI) sent show cause notices to 20 odd pharmacies, including Tata 1mg, Netmeds, Prato, stating that there was a sale of drugs that weren't allowed for retail sale and lack of proper prescription. Okay. So, stringent norms and strong e-pharmacy code of conduct will help this market. According to IMA, Indian Medical Association, what are the challenges? Okay, you have challenges of drug abuse, misuse, self-medication, access to children, no place or system to evaluate the adverse drug reactions. So if you order something online and if you consume that drug and if you have reactions, whom you will report to? Okay. No clarity on the drug storage conditions. Some drugs needs to be stored away from the sunlight. So if you're ordering something online and if that drug is not stored properly, so but naturally it is going to expire. And if you consume an expired drug, then you all know you will directly meet with the god. Okay. And no system of immediate recall in case of drugs are problems that industries are facing with. So if a particular batch of drug is faulty, so there is no system of recalling it directly. So according to IMA, these are the issues. According to Health Ministry, the above are the issues. Okay. Okay. You have unlimited accessibility, you have substandard sale, you have habit forming medicines, you have profiling of patients and illegal data storing of the patients. So these are some of the issues that are being pegged with the e-pharmacy sector. So it becomes very important to regulate this sector. Guys, such kind of questions do come in mains, okay? And you will be caught in a lingo as to where UPSC has framed these questions, because such kind of things you will not find in any of the current affairs material except newspaper. Hence, analysis of newspaper is very, very important, guys. Okay, this has been my experience from last 8 years since I've come into this coaching foray. But make sure that you are summarizing newspapers very, very properly. Otherwise, in mains, you will be left in a lingo. You will suffer through low spirits as to where UPSC has framed this question. So, simple one-liner question: what are the challenges pegging the e-pharmacy sector from consumer's perspective and from regulatory policy perspective? So, if you have done this one article, your answer is taken care of and your all India rank is ensured. Okay. So here we come to the end of discussion. I'm again reiterating my name to you all. Okay. My name is Pritish Mathurkar. Okay. I will be your primary faculty for analyzing the Hindu. Okay. You can download all these videos free of cost. The channel link is t.me Hindu Analysis Zone and the name of the channel is HAZ. Okay. Please keep on following this channel so that you have direct access to all these PDFs. And mind you guys, please keep on summarizing those PDFs. Please keep on revising the PDFs. Today being the International Labor Day, so you have to put your labor in this preparation. And I want each one of you who will be following this to get a good All India rank, become a good officer, and do something for our country, because that is the need of the hour. Okay. So I thank you all on the behalf of Study IQ English IAS, and I hope that you are enjoying these sessions and we will keep on meeting in the future days to come. Okay, so every morning sharp at 9 a.m. I will be ready with the analysis of Hindu, and you should all be ready with the discussions too. Okay, thank you all. Have a nice day.